Hello, ABL and fans of the ABL. I am Alan of the Armchair Updates channel, here to get into some week 5, scoring week 5 of the ABL. Again, a little late, man. Let me get off on a side tangent because I'm so annoyed with this. I went to get a new driver's license because I'm still using my Illinois one, which I found out recently is actually illegal. If you move to a new state within X amount of days, you have to get a driver's license or an ID for that state, and I hadn't because my Illinois license expires in 2025. So I figured, why go to the DMV if I don't have to? So I decided this morning I was going to do it, and I get online. I fill out. They have you fill out an application. You can, instead of going and waiting in line and everything, you fill out an application. You let them know what you need done, and it tells you what you need to bring for ID verification. I was bringing my passport. I had 2 pieces of mail, all that shit. I got the confirmation email, and it tells you it's optional, but to speed the process along, print this page out and bring it with you to the DMV. So I print it out. It has the confirmation number up top, and at the bottom it has the fees, and it says these are the fees that you will pay today. It's subject to change pretty much at any time, but these are the fees you'll pay today. And so I take all that with me. I go to the DMV. I walk in, and there's like signs all over the place that says no walk-ins. Don't come without an appointment. Okay, yeah, that's fine and good. I have my confirmation paper ready to go. I go in there, and all of that bullshit I did, that apparently is not an appointment. That's just filling out an application to do. I don't really know what the difference is, because when I go to the Mesa County DMV website, it doesn't prompt you to make an appointment. It doesn't tell you that you have to make an appointment. In fact, the thing that they give you to print out has today's date on it. Says these are the fees you will pay today. Take this to the DMV. Here's the fees you'll pay today. So, God, what an annoyance! What an annoyance to have to go to the DMV and then get turned away. And I thought she was going to say, so unfortunately you have to make an appointment, and the soonest one we have, I thought she was going to say like 11 o'clock or something, because it was 8:30 or whatever, is the 26th. So it's not just later today, it's about a week from now. And just what a giant pain. After dealing with a literal pain in my ass for months and months, I get a new one. Maybe it's my fault. Maybe I somehow missed it, but I went to the website in the first place so that I could do something like that and avoid. I didn't know that they had no walk-ins. I had no idea. I guess that's probably still a COVID thing, but I wanted to avoid all that as much as possible. That's why I went on the website. So nothing about making an appointment or having to make an appointment, especially. Just a bugger of the day. Yeah, ABL week 5. Let's get into it. My advance apologies to the Minnesota Twins, who I kind of put the kibosh on the San Francisco Giants of ABL 4 when I gave them a hat tip on the pod about being unbeaten, and then he got stomped for an 0-5 week, and then I kind of did the same thing for the Twins, and he didn't go 0-5, but he definitely lost his unbeaten. So now the pod has put the kibosh on an unbeaten team 2 weeks in a row, and now neither ABL league feature an unbeaten team, which is okay. It wasn't going to last forever, but I can't help but feel partially responsible. Like I have incredible power to do something like that, and that's what I choose to use it on. Your week 5, some pretty interesting names up at the very top here. I will point them out The Yankees, which it's not surprising the Yankees that could go 3-0, but that AL East had been pretty tough. So the Yankees, the D-backs, the Nats, and the Rangers all go 3-0, as well as the Dodgers, the Pirates, the Phils. We're used to seeing those teams do very well. The Giants and the Brewers go 2-0 to finish off 9 unbeaten teams for the week. Very big week for the NL West. A lot of teams. I will say we lost our unbeaten team, but we did preserve our still two winless teams in myself and the Mets, and probably one of those will come to an end this week. That the Mets and I do play each other, so unless we manage to tie, which we've seen can happen, we will be down to likely one winless team. I hope it's not me, but I'm prepared for it to be me. So 9 teams go unbeaten on the week, 7 3-0 and 2 2-0. The Pods, another NL West team, the Pods, the Tigers, the Astros, the Cardinals, and the Jays all go 2-1. Atlanta and Boston and the A's go 1-1. So even when the A's have an off week, he still scrapes a win out. The Reds, the Twins, the Royals, and the O's go 1-2. So tough week for a couple of the AL Central teams, and the Royals and Twins taking a couple losses each. The Cubs, the Mariners, the White Sox, the Rockies, the Rays, the Marlins, the Angels, and the Mets all go 0-3, and Cleveland sneaks back into the bottom of the pack with an 0-2 week. Not a terrible week. I guess if you're going to have a bad week, you like it to be 0-2 rather than 0-3 or perhaps worse. So there's your – nice to see the Nats up there. Nice to see the Nats go 3-0. Nice to see the Rangers go 3-0. The Giants have been very good. The Phillies have been very good. They are crushing that division. The D-backs, sneaky good. Yankees starting to show some overall separation, I believe. No, show me the actual standings. I don't want to. There we go. Yeah, where's the? Yeah, so the Yankees have opened up a 3-game lead in the East, which of course could disappear in 1 week, but I think that's more separation than we had been seeing in the AL East. It's a tough division. Very tough. They're all pretty tough. I mean, there's aside from the AL or the NL East, they all look like pretty tough divisions. And the Phillies are, easy division. Not 13-1 is nothing to sneeze at. Easy division, but maybe an easier division. But still, 13-1 is 13-1. You still got to win the games. Impressive, nonetheless. But yeah, these are the tops of the divisions all look very tough. 2 13-1 teams in the Central, 2 double-digit win teams, and a D-backs team that just went 3-0, and a Padres team that's only lost to the Dodgers by 6 points. We'll see in the small margins. The Padres very easily could have beat the Dodgers. I think maybe he had Taylor Ward on the bench for a big home run. And that could have been the decider right there. The Yankees at 11-3 atop the East, 12-2 Twins, and then the middle, the rest of the AL Central, not just the middle, very muddled. 7-6 Royals, 7-7 White Sox, who just declared dump and moved a lot of players. So I'm sure that will show itself in the coming weeks. But the Tigers are no pushover at 5-9. They look worse on paper than they are. Still scored almost 4,200 points total. And then Cleveland at 5-9, who coming off an 0-2 week this week was, I think, 3-0 in week 4. I could be wrong on that, but I think. And Oakland 12-2, sitting on top of the West, but Houston right on his heels, 3 games behind, and then the Mariners right there. And Texas, we just saw go 3-0 to go to 6-8, and only 6 games behind with a lot of games to go. So. And the Angels, 1-13. You're probably not competing this year, Cal. I think I and the Sox have all seen the Mets have all seen the writing on the wall. Let's go to this stuff. Your small margins for Week 5. Cincinnati, Minnesota. So we had 5 games fall under 7 points, 4 of them 6 or fewer. Your smallest margin of the week, 0.333 points, Cincinnati over Minnesota. So not only did Minnesota go 1-2, but one of the losses was, by a base hit or a run or whatever. A lot of different things could have went differently in that matchup for it to be flip-flopped. But as it was, Cincinnati over Minnesota, 0.33 points. Number 2, the Dodgers over San Diego. So it wasn't even 6 points. It was 3.33 points. I thought it was 6. So yeah, the Dodgers get a thin one over the Padres. And then in number 3 is the Padres getting a thin one, nearly 6 points over Houston, 5.667 points. So I remember about this time last year, I commented on Ray on the Astros being on the thin margin, the losing side a few times. I was calling him the Razor because of the razor thin, and because his name is Ray. And so yeah, Ray showing up again here in the early going with a pretty thin loss, fewer than 6 points. And then Oakland over Colorado, that was the 6 points I had. I almost had a win, a 6-point loss to Oakland. I could have made Oakland 0-2 instead of 1-1. I got my first win, but 6 points. And number 5, San Francisco over Kansas City, 6.667 points. So I commented that both Minnesota and KC had went 1-2 on the week. And as we see, both of them suffered a pretty thin margin loss. So that AL Central could look even more wild than it does. I mean, it would be another win for Minnesota, whatever, they're sitting on top, but give another win to KC and just throws that much more of a wrench into that division. Your points per game, week 5 leaders, the Yankees. The Yankees crushed this week. They went 3-0. Gary was sitting on top of the pitching, sitting at number 3 in the hitting. Points per game, 5.43 in 69 nice games for the Yankees. That's a pretty high number for a week, 5.43. I don't want to say for certain that that's the highest we've seen in a regular scoring week, but I think it probably is. Number 2, Arizona also went 3-0 on the week, 4.64 in 67 games. Nearly a full point gap. I mean, not quite a full point, but the better half of a full point gap, 5.43 to 4.64. So the Yankees really had a hell of a week. Number 3, Houston, 4.48 in 67 games. San Francisco and Houston only gets a 2-for-1 to show for that. It wasn't good enough to knock off the Padres. San Francisco, 4.42 in 53 games. And Washington goes 3-0, averages 4.4 points per game, only 59 games. But, hey, you average, nearly 4.5 a game, you're going to pull some wins out eventually, as long as it's not in, 20, 30 games. But doing it in about 60 games, that's a pretty good week. You're hitting week 5. Detroit was the only 200-plus hitting team at 212. Arizona, number 2 at 198. The Yankees, number 3 at 197. Milwaukee, number 4 at 194. And the Dodgers at 5th, 192 hitting points. Very, very close together, all the hitting teams. Pitching week 5, the Yankees, 177.667. Pittsburgh, number 2, 173.667. San Francisco, number 3, 158.167. Houston, number 4, 157.833. And Cleveland, number 5, 157.667. So less than a point separating 3 through 5 on the weekly pitching there. Very, very grouped together. Your point per game on the year, Pittsburgh moves into the number 1 spot, 4.08. Minnesota, Toronto kind of tied for 2. I put them at 2 and 3 at 3.99 each. Oakland, number 4, 3.98. And San Francisco, number 5, 3.97. So Josh has turned that Giant team around very quickly from the mess that he was left. Congrats to Josh. Hitting on the year, Minnesota, the first team to eclipse 1,000 points at 1,004. The Dodgers right behind them at 999. St. Louis in 3rd at 985. Pittsburgh down to 928 in 4th. And Milwaukee is in the 5 spot at 927. So 3 teams in the NL Central all in the top 5 of hitting. That is rough. Pitching on the year, Pittsburgh, 944 points, number 1. Oakland, number 2, 940.333. St. Louis, number 3 at 921.5. The White Sox, number 4, 917.167. We can probably expect that to change in the coming weeks. We may not see the White Sox in the top 5. And San Francisco, number 5, 881.667. And I don't say that to be disparaging to Harry, but let's take a look at some of these trades that happened recently, because the White Sox went into dunk mode. Let's go down to let's see, May 16th. That feels like I don't want to go into too many of these. Tanner Rainey for a third-round pick. I traded Ryu to the Brewers for a prospect. I traded Barrios to the O's for a prospect. And then on the 14th, we have the Cubs acquiring Sonny Gray, Pavin Smith, Jake McCarthy for Margot, Hudson Haskin, and Luis Guillorme, who I'm hoping will play more with Cano gone. The Cubs then deal Paul Blackburn to the Phillies for Jurickson Profar and his super position eligibility. The Braves see an opening within that division. They trade a prospect, Matt McLean, who has been showing some power in the minors, for Tony Gonsolin, who has been a interesting, if not reliable, arm this year. He's been good. He's shown flashes of brilliance and flashes of frustration. If you remember Chuck James, Gonsolin's better than Chuck James, the former Brave pitcher. It seemed like Chuck James always had a line of like 5 innings, 5 walks, 5 strikeouts, 5 hits allowed, maybe 5 earned. Gonsolin doesn't have the 5 earned, but he seems to often walk a lot of guys in tandem with being able to strike some guys out. It's an interesting trade. I like to see the Braves making a move for – I don't think it's just for now. I don't think Gonsolin is just a this year guy. What is he? He's $14. Yeah, 2024. So he's not a just this year guy. But, yeah, I like that move for the Braves. I like it for the Tigers. The O's deal a third-round pick for an all 3 spots eligible Ryan McKenna. And then I deal Dylan Carlson, a very struggling. I posted a StatCast the other day. I don't know if I said that's who it was, but the guy with all the blue there that could run fast but got shitty jumps. That's Dylan Carlson. I've kind of lost my faith in him. Paired him with Christian Javier to Sam for Miles Straw, who, I love the price. I don't love the price of Carlson. I do love the price of Straw. He's $3. He signed through 26, and he's not just a steals guy. He's not Rajay Davis or Billy Hamilton. He's better than that. He's a better ball player than just a steals guy. I drafted him for $1 last year. Should have held on to him. Mistake on my part. I like to see him back. Justice Sheffield, he's a spark. He's in the minors. He's only $4. So if he doesn't work out, he's gone. The Cubs then trade for Trevor Story. This is the 16th, before he just kind of went off. Traded Josh Donaldson and Andrew Velasquez to the Rangers. So the Rangers getting active. And as we can see, he gets active with the Cubs again about an hour and a half later. May 16th, 2:01 p.m. May 16th, 3:34 p.m. So an hour and a half goes by. These two have been talking more. Hey, I like that first deal I did with you. Let's keep going. Let's keep it going. I like that time we held hands walking through the hall to class. Let's get a little more serious. And they get pretty serious. The Cubs send for Jorge Lopez, Anthony Rizzo, Zach Collins, Sonny Gray. So Sonny Gray's packed his bags a couple different times in the last week. To the Rangers, warmer environs than Chicago, for Josh Hader, Liam Hendricks. So Sam abandoning the super bullpen strategy and Frank picking it back up. Frank experimented with it last year. I think ended up ditching it. Sam experimented with it in the offseason with the auction. And I guess, if he's probably, you could say he's ditching it if he's trading Hendricks and Hader in one deal. And it'd be interesting to see how this one works out. Frank has went back and forth with his pitching. He likes the relievers. He likes the starters. He's going back to the relievers. I don't think Hader had the red flag on his personal. So maybe bereavement or something. Yeah, huge deal there. Huge couple of deals within the span of an hour and a half, give or take. The Rangers and the Cubs consummating. The Braves, again making a very interesting kind of play for now. Gallen I think is extendable, but he is not signed. But the Braves trade a 2023 first rounder catching prospect, pretty bigger name catching prospect Harry Ford, and a pretty good arm prospect in Quinn Priester, though I don't think he's thrown in a while this year. To the White Sox, to Harry's White Sox, for Zach Gallen and Adam Duvall. I think everybody knows how good Gallen has been this year. Duvall is all three eligible. The Braves are making a couple of plays for the near term, I will say. Not necessarily just for now, but the near term. I like the Braves stepping up and going for it a little bit. And then what I thought, and this is again personal opinion, I thought it was a little bit of a head scratcher for the Blue Jays dealing Lance Lynn to the Rangers for Chris Archer. Not that Archer's been bad, but Lynn is due to come back in early June. I guess we don't know that he definitely will, but you've gotten nothing out of him. You've sat with him on the IL this whole time. Get something out of him when he comes back. I don't know. I'm a Lance Lynn guy. I like him. And the Jays, I know, are in kind of a funny spot where we just saw the Jays are tied for second on the season in point per game. So they're in a spot where it looks like, hey, I could maybe go for making a run this year, but I don't know. I don't see this move. If I was going to deal Lynn, I'd want to get, I don't know, somebody better than Archer. I don't like Archer. He only ever throws 4 innings. I don't know, there's a little bit of a head scratch. I like the deal for the Rangers, of course, but I'm scratching my head a little bit on the Blue Jays side. Sorry, Gary. I don't mean anything personal by it, but I don't really get the move for you. The Jays then make when did this happen? Yeah, this happened about an hour and a half later. Make a move I quite like. Ian Anderson and Jake Woodford to the Mets. The Mets show up and make a couple moves for Justin Verlander, who's been unbelievable. He's cheap. I don't think he's only signed for this year, but he is only $7. If the Jays get to a point where he doesn't think he's playing for this year, Verlander's probably going to make a nice trade chip himself. So I do quite like that deal for Gary. Anderson has been a source of great frustration. I said Gonsolin was like Chuck James. Ian Anderson is like Chuck James. He's always walking 4 or 5 guys to go along with not very many strikeouts, 3, 4, 2. Anderson has not been very good. He's been a great source of frustration for me personally. He's pretty expensive, $35 signed through 24. So, Dwight looking ahead, obviously to not this year, but probably to the future of having a rotation anchor. He is young; he's only 24. But yeah, I think I like the move for both sides, I guess. The Mets also trade a first-round pick, what will likely be a high lottery pick for 2023, and maybe the best high school arm from his draft, Jackson Jobe, for super stud shortstop Timmy Anderson, who is signed through 2024 also. So Dwight picks up a couple of guys, a couple of anchor-type players, build-around players that are signed for the next couple few years. So you see kind of the direction that Dwight is looking. He's looking ahead to the next couple. He's trading prospects, but getting guys that at least are signed. The Nats and the A's make a deal. The A's send the Dodger Pepio, who has made a start or 2, but now back down to the minors, for Jay Groom, super catching prospect Joey Bart, $3 fab. And we've got a couple minor draft pick and scrubby player deals, and then a big one today, just a little bit ago, which I don't know. At first, I didn't love. I thought the Dodgers got. I thought the Dodgers got quite a bit better of it, but I don't know. I think I still do. I feel like the Dodgers got a really good. I'll just break it down. The Dodgers trade Joe trades his first rounder in 2023 next year, Bobby Miller, consensus top 100 prospect, and Max Meyer, consensus probably top 10 prospect, to the White Sox. So a huge bolster of the farm system. And Harry deals Freddie Freeman, who is $39, is extendable, so could be extendable, but is not signed. He's a $39 player. Chris Bassett, who is $14 and signed through 23, so comes with another year of control. A second and a third. The Cardinals second for next year, and the Angels third for next year. So you look at my I don't have a single draft pick for the next draft. So my value of draft picks, the Dodgers, it's not going to be a high first. It's going to be a late first, and Joe gets 2 draft picks back, plus Freeman and Bassett. Yes, Miller and Meyer are fantastic prospects, especially Meyer. I personally worry a little bit about the arm of Meyer. I say that as somebody that traded for Jake Eder last year after Eder had Tommy John. I'm not averse to guys that have had Tommy John, but I didn't trade Freddie Freeman and Chris Bassett to get Jake Eder. And Meyer, it's not like Meyer's having Tommy John. I don't mean to imply that. It's ulnar nerve irritation, but he'd been pretty bad in his last couple starts. It was clear that something was wrong with his arm. Then he goes on the IL. He's still a stud. And even if he has TJ, yes, he probably will come back. Guys come back fine from TJ. But I don't know. That's just personal opinion. Harry gets 2 consensus. I don't know a ton about Bobby Miller. I know he's a really hard thrower. I know he's a definite top 100 like overall prospect. I don't know where he falls when it comes to pitching prospects, probably top 20, top 15. So, yeah, Harry's getting a tremendous amount of value back. This makes the Dodgers really, really tough. It just makes the Dodgers – not that it mattered to me. I wasn't competing, but I think it's a good deal for both sides. I think Duke is right. It's a win-win. Yeah, I think Harry got an offer he liked and he jumped on it. If he waits, you run like I've always said, you run the risk of Freddie getting hurt. You run the risk of Chris Bassett getting hurt and not getting as much for him or getting nothing for him. So yeah, jump on the deal that you see that you like. I think after thinking about it for a little bit, maybe looking it over, I didn't know as much about Miller. I still really don't, but I know he's firmly within the top 100 pretty much no matter what source you look at. I had just kind of looked at his blurb and noticed that he didn't have an update on tracks since April 6th. Not that you can put any faith at all into tracks, but I didn't know if that meant that maybe he was hurt or maybe he hadn't been very good. But he's a consensus, very, very good, high-end prospect. So like Cleveland Mark said in the Discord, does Harry have the best farm now? If he doesn't, he's definitely up there. He just grabs two of the very top arms that you could probably get, and a first-round pick, a late first, but still a first. So nice deal. We've had some action in the last week and a half. Kind of starting to feel like old ABL a little bit. And heading into the weekend, we will see who of me and Dwight remains winless. Pins and needles for that. I'm sure everybody is. And we continue to see some big moves made. Teams stocking up for the rest of this season. Teams stocking up for the next couple seasons. Interesting to see where everybody's going to land. And good luck on your weekend matchups in this league and others. And thanks for watching. And I will see you soon.